You guys ready?
Yep.
One take, Jake.
Who's Jake?
What's up, Arisaurus Nation? I'm excited because over the next couple weeks, I've got a guest host. It's been many years since I've had an actual guest host, and it's a legend in Todd Duncan. So for the next few weeks, Todd and I were like, how can we add even more value in a crazy time to be in this industry? So we came up with this crazy idea over the next couple weeks. We're going to do quick hitting shows with amazing influencers and guest speakers. We have one here today that we're going to get into. That's the concept, guys. So good, bad, or indifferent. You got Todd and I for the next 6 weeks, leading right up to Sales Mastery, which I'll be there. Cody will be there. Obviously, Todd will be there October 11th. Grab your teams, grab your realtors. Guess what? They're not doing anything either. Like, they want to learn, they want to grow their business. Grab your realtors too and meet us there. So Todd, thank you so much. And Cody, $115 million producer. I think your talk's going to be mastering the holy grail of influence. I'm stoked to listen to that. Thank you for being with us today, bud.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Ryan.
So let's get into this. So our goal is going to be a quick hitting show, value add, relevancy. And then quite honestly, guys, we're going to leave you with a little bit of a tease so that you meet us in Palm Springs, October 11th. So you'll see that tease later on, but go ahead, Todd. I'm going to let you take over and pull the brilliance out of Cody real quick.
Oh man, I don't have to pull it out. He was gifted with that. But Ryan, great to join you and Arisaurus Nation. I love that theme.
Yeah.
I love your tribe, and
Yeah,
we're going to do like a series of these, and the goal maybe is to showcase 10 minutes of hard hitting strategy that winners are using today in an otherwise, kind of weird market, right? And I think the good news about what I think your tribe is about is, and Cody gets us to the best invest whenever the market goes squirrely like this, and they invest whenever the market's going well. And Cody's one of those guys, and I've had the pleasure to get to know him and work with him and watch him just thrive on taking a few of these quick principles and nailing them. The biggest thing today that I think the market needs is they need to get back to sitting down with referral partners and asking good questions. They need to be doing something with borrowers to ask different questions. And the whole goal that I think, if I were to claim Cody's legacy, what would it be? He said, I get paid to influence. And I think that's every loan officer's need to understand that you get paid to influence, starts with the heart, goes to the head. And Cody's a master at this. I think, well over 500 families served,
Wow.
Every single year. It's amazing. And, so Cody's going to rock and roll, and he'll unpack these 10 minutes at Sales Mastery for about 45 minutes. But Cody, you and I know the drill here, right? And the idea that I would like you to start with is, in today's crazy market, what does the high trust interview really look like and mean for a loan officer who wants to get back after it, build partnerships, and your take on that? Because you are the master, and it's in fact Cody that came up with the holy grail is the high trust interview. So Cody, welcome, and share with everybody first the partner piece, and then we can roll to the borrower piece. Just a little bit of snow on the mountain peak on what we're going to be covering in Mastery.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. I do spend a lot of time speaking with other loan officers and originators in my market and around the country. I don't have to tell everybody where we're at right now, right? I'm sure if everybody takes a quick peek at their September pipeline, it's causing everybody to maybe do a double take, maybe a triple take. I know I'm not alone because I talk to people every day, and not just, regular producers, but some really high producing originators out there. So we all have kind of the same set of challenges, right, that are in front of us. And what I've been preaching to my loan officers is, guys, the lucky thing for us is we know exactly what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. Okay. Because I've taught you all and coached you for years on exactly what we need to be doing during these times. And, I'm talking to them about the current market as, like a down stock market, right? This is the time that you buy into the dip, right? And you invest while the market's down and grab market share. And when the market comes back, the results are going to be 2, 3, 4, 5x what it would normally be. Right. But it starts with having the confidence to get back out into the market. And the number one thing that I see that is keeping loan officers from getting out on the streets and doing what they need to do is, quite frankly, fear, right? Fear of rejection and objection, right? Not knowing exactly what to say. And the truth is nobody's had to sell for the last 2 or 3 years, right? It's just been falling off the trees. It's never been an easier environment for us. And so even the people that were really good before the pandemic, they're rusty. They're out of
professionally out of shape. We've been calling it professionally out of shape.
That's exactly right. Right. And it's time for us to get back to the fundamentals and start executing at a high level. And I think in 12 to 18 months, the tide will be out and we'll find out who's swimming naked and who's not.
Right.
Right. And there's going to be some that will make it and some that won't. So it's really important to have these skills. And if you don't have them, to go get them as quickly as possible.
So, Cody, I said to our coaches today, because we have a weekly coaches corner call, and I said, every coaching member we have is 30 days away from turning fear into power.
Mhm.
And they just were like eyes wide open on that. And I said, I'm serious, you guys. People are out of shape. You can't go to the gym one time after not going for 2 years and be back in shape.
Exactly.
You gotta do something every single day. And the thing to do today is shore up the partnerships you think you have, secure the partnerships you want to get after. And if you make 1 or 2 calls a day and understand the power of influence through the high trust interview, and you ask 1 or 2 simple questions, you can begin to add value to your partner group in ways that even in a normal market, which this is not, you wouldn't do, and in ways that would surprise them. To Ryan, your point, they're not doing anything anyway. A lot of realtors need solutions today. A lot of builders need solutions today. And, it's just, I don't think enough people know the middle of the book is the high trust interview. What would you say right now is your experience with asking your partners what they need, and what would be a couple of just tidbits you could share with what people will experience from you at Mastery in terms of the end result?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of different entry points to these conversations. If you're talking about existing partners, the fact is a lot of us haven't even been talking to our partners the last couple
Yeah.
of years. Quite frankly, I was facing a situation in 2020 where if I started making calls to my partners to check in, it would break the whole thing because there just wasn't enough capacity for the number of transactions to come in. So for a lot of us, it really is reconnecting with people that maybe we haven't talked to in a while. Right. And we have to have the courage to pick up the phone and call them as human beings and find out, where they're at. Right. And meet them with where they're at, find out what their challenges are, and then start adding value and solving for them. For me and my partners, I position everything as it's us against them. Right. It's me and you against the rest of the market. So what do we need to do to make sure that as we go through these more challenging times that we're going to have a competitive advantage?
Yep.
Right?
So
And
what's a high
for-
trust question? What's a high trust question look like right now with existing partners?
with my existing partners, number one, what's the biggest challenge that you're dealing with?
Boom,
Right.
boom. And
Period.
how can I help you?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead. Yeah. And not only that, but before I even get to that is, what's your mindset? Because I want to get down on the for reals with them as quickly as I can. And I want to know what's going on between their ears. Because we all know that what happens between our ears is what's going to get manifested out into reality. And so I want to find out, where are you at? And that's where my conversation is starting, is what's your mindset about where the market is right now?
They're just like us. They're fearful a little bit, guys. Like they don't know either. They're looking for new strategies. That's why I opened the show with grab your realtor, take them to Sales Mastery. Let's figure this out together. Like Cody just said, let's figure this out together. Like you can't afford not to go look for an offensive strategy in this market. And you can't afford to leave, like Cody said, a realtor behind that maybe you forgot about, for the last 2 years. And that's not a negative thing, guys. We were doing what we were supposed to do. There's Cody, you said the loans were falling from the ceilings, right? Like we were trying to close as many as we could, as fast as we could. The market's shifted now. Grab a realtor. I promise you, they're looking for some leadership and some direction. Go to Sales Mastery, learn together, edify together, build a business together. Guys, I can't think of a better strategy right now. Or I guess just bury your head and hope for the best. That's the alternative.
Here's the interesting observation, as a guy that understands productivity pretty well and has guys like Cody, guys and gals that are crushing it right now. It doesn't mean that it's super easy, but what it means is we are back to basics in a way that we have forgotten about. And when you sit down with an agent that you already know, it is your moral and ethical and fiduciary responsibility to help them win. And you can't help them win unless you ask the question or questions like Cody just framed. What are your 2 to 3 greatest challenges right now that you're experiencing and that you would like me to come alongside you and help you solve? That question right there takes like 15 seconds to ask. And whatever the answers are, you get to go into solution mode, which is the part of the high trust interview that only 9%, or the market that only 9% of loan officers understand. We just did a webinar with 1,800 originators from around the country, and we polled them. 9% could say positively, I know the needs my referral partners have. 91% said they don't. So think about this for a sec. If 50% of the market is going away anyway, and loan officers are quitting because they don't know how to make it rain right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and you got the other 50%, you still have an 80-20 distribution. So to be at the top of that group means you better ask the questions that give you the needs, because Cody said 7 years ago from stage, you can't exceed their expectations unless you know what they are. So
Love
Cody, what happens in these conversations? What do you hear partners saying right now? And then let's real quick go to like a brand new partner. If you wanted to target today, because nobody's doing it, what would you do?
Well, I think that Ryan actually hit it on the head. I'm hearing the exact same fears from realtors that I hear from the loan officers that I coach and mentor. They're
Yep.
looking at the pipeline saying, man, I mean, it was like coming from everywhere and now it's crickets. They don't know how to turn the tap on. Right. And some of the methodologies that we use in high trust, okay, it works for loan officers and it works for realtors.
Yep.
Right.
Same
So
principles.
I'm sharing and coaching my partners on how to go out and turn the tap on. Right. And I think that's kind of next level, is if you get good enough at this, that you can do it yourself and then teach your own partners how to go out and get their own business.
Yeah.
And I explained to them, I have a vested interest in your success, vested interest, right? The more successful you are, the more successful I am. So I'm sharing everything I've got with you, so you can go out into the market, right? And bring the referrals and bring the buyers and bring the opportunities for us to add values to our clients.
One of the things you did early on, Cody, is you really understood the execution of, after a high trust interview, what you needed to do every single week to make it rain. And I think that we're back to revisiting what are loan officers doing every single week to make it rain for their partners. And they historically haven't done it. And I think that when we say 30 days away from power, turning your fear into power, what would happen if you made one call a day to partners that you want to reconnect with, new partners you don't know that you want to bring over? How long would it take a day? And what would it look like at the end of 30 days?
Right.
That's a very interesting question from a huge mega producer like yourself.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to go, let me just use myself. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to be completely transparent with the crowd. I had to start selling again. Okay. I watch, the market started to shift really in May. Okay. And the high producers that are doing high numbers, they started feeling it in May. Okay. Prospects were getting sucked out of the market. Okay. And we track our numbers exactly. And we could start to see the softness across multiple high producing originators in our organization. So we knew it was market driven and not just somebody having an off month or something. And I literally went back to selling. Okay. And I ate the same advice that I give to my loan officers when I'm coaching and mentoring them. I started with one call per day. Okay. And I used RJ Crosby's pitch counter. Okay.
Boom.
Boom. Yeah. And I was trying to get 1 to 3 clicks a day. And it was hard, you guys. It was very difficult. I was going back and it was almost like I was burning the same neural pathways that I did 10, 12, 13 years ago, getting comfortable calling realtors again. So, I had to go through that. And after about 30, 60 days, I started to see the numbers changing again. And we've gone through this iteration several times, regardless of market conditions. We know that small, significant activities, right, executed on a regular basis over time are going to be in a compound. We've got another friend that tells us that. And after about 90 days, honestly, like, people start hitting records. And I've got loan officers right now that have been following right behind me, starting with 1, 2, 3 calls a day. And now they're getting into that 60, 90-day mark, and they're starting to see the difference in their prospecting numbers, even as the rest of the market is declining.
Yeah.
Right. And so this activity can overcome some of the issues that we're all dealing with, but it's going to take people getting on the phone and getting out there and adding value and building trust.
I want realtors and LOs that just heard that one to go back and listen to it. And then after that, write down the miracles in the mundane, because that's what Cody was talking about. The miracles in the mundane. Put that on your computer, write it on whatever, and look at that every day, because I promise you, Cody is right. The miracles in mundane. And if you commit to it, you'll look up and you'll be astonished by your results.
Yeah. I said something to a group down in St. Thomas 2 weeks ago, and I said, we were talking about just the power of connection, right? And I said to them, 125 top producers, Chairman Club, President's Club, and Founders Club. And I said, there's enough people to make all your business dreams come true right now. But the people won't be enough to make that happen if you don't call them.
Right. Yep.
That's right.
Boom,
Yep.
right.
Wait,
So
guys, real quick. The most profound statement I've ever heard at a conference, and it was Sales Master. It was Todd Duncan. He stood on stage and he said, "Life will give you what you ask of it." Okay? And he
100%.
didn't say the other part of that. It was unsaid. If you don't ask, you will not receive.
all right, Ryan, what else do you want to ask Cody, buddy?
Man, that's like a great way to end the show. Like 15 minutes in, that was money. That leaves me wanting more. Cody, I can't wait to listen to your talk, man. I'm so excited to go. I hope more people join us at Sales Mastery on the 11th. Todd, I think we're going to hook them up today, right? Don't we have a podcast?
You know, we are doing something very special. We're celebrating 30 years of Sales Mastery. It's fairly unheard of that an event can last that long. And the only reason it's lasted that long is because of guys like Cody and tens of thousands of other people that have trusted the community, right? They have trusted the idea that when you come to Sales Mastery, it's not a rah-rah. We're not going to sit there and pound our chest and try to motivate you. You'll get motivated. We get in the dirt, man. We get in the trenches. We roll up our sleeves and we give you actionable ideas that you can go and change your and your client's life forever. So first, the specialness of 30 years because of guys like, both of you and the tribe, it's going to be exceptional. And then the other thing this year that makes it super special is every presenter, we have 36 presenters and 6 keynote speakers. Every single presenter is going to end their presentation with this comment: do this in the next 60 to 90 days, and this is what you're going to get. So you can walk away from that with an actionable plan. And here's the interesting thing. I'll just tee this up because I think a lot of people right now today are afraid of investing, right? But the best invest, like Cody said,
100%.
all the time.
In markets like this right now.
Right now, double down, put the pedal to the metal and double down because everybody else is pumping the brakes because they're scared. You got to turn fear into power, and we're going to help you do that. So here's the deal I want you to be thinking about. Because of our relationship with Ryan and you being in that tribe, you have a special discount code. It's going to save you $200 off the already discounted price of $995. Your access point is you go to toddduncan.com, you go to the Sales Mastery event page, you click buy your ticket, and at checkout, your promo code is POD, P-O-D, 200. 200. That is the discount you get off of the $995 ticket. So it's $795 because of Ryan and his tribe. The other thing I want to tell you is that if it's a $700 flight, it's a $700 hotel, and it's $700 for food, and it's $795 for a ticket. That's $2,895. That is like 80% of one loan commission. And my promise to you is if you execute everything from Mastery, you're going to fund 10 additional loans a month beginning in the second month after Sales Mastery if you follow the plan. So Ryan, it's pretty straightforward, man. We're over 1,000 people already. We're going hard for 2,000 people, and we usually get about 50% of the signups in the last 6 weeks. So here we are. Let's do it.
Best investment is into yourself, guys. Invest
100%.
in yourself first. I promise you. Todd's right. This is a mortgage X's and O's conference. This isn't rah-rah. This is, you're going to go home and you're going to have a ton just from Cody's talk. You're going to have a ton to go execute. And one loan will pay for it. We're going to 10, if not 100x that.
Cody, you're a stud. Thank you so much for being a great practitioner. Ryan, I love you tons, and thanks for letting us do this. And we're going to keep going every week for the next 6 weeks. We're going to give you
Cody,
one segment.
Thanks again, buddy. I'll see you in October. Todd, I'll see you next week, bud.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.